further learning, and also just to give the information to all you guys that every session I always record it and also upload that on the YouTube. I give you also the email on the presentation and also the link of the YouTube for you to be able to go back to the file if you need it, and feel free to share that as well along of your colleague to be able to maximize the learning process. Good afternoon to everybody. Thank you so much for joining our session. This online wine master class that we starting since on the beginning of the pandemic, like around the beginning of March, actually we already started. So it's dedicated for all of us to be able to have a further learning in despite with this condition. So in this afternoon, it was very honor for us to have Michael from the Rhonea artisan vigneron. We are talking about the Rhone Valley region. Michael is the Asia export manager of the product. Unfortunately, it's been a long time that Michael was not come to Bali, but I believe the next plan for Michael, it will be visiting us, and we will be able to have the testing later on in Bali together. So without further ado, we will ask Michael to present. Just like hospitality, like usual, I will mute everybody to make sure that all the information that given by Michael will be clear for us. If you have any question, you can drop that on the chat. And later on, we will discuss the question or any concern from your side after Michael finishes the presentation. All right. So Michael, without further ado,
Yes, thank you, William. Thank you for introduction.
Thank you.
And thank you for the opportunity to introduce our Rhone Valley and Rhonea wines. So my name is Michael Travostino, and I'm an export manager for Rhonea. So hello to everybody, all my friends in Indonesia. I wish we can meet and share the wine for real next year. I hope so. So I will do my presentation in 2 times. I will introduce the Rhone Valley vineyard, the Rhone Valley culture, and then I will talk more about our products and our winery. So now I will share the screen. Just let me know if it's working.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Yes, it's working.
It's working? Okay,
yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so at Rhonea, we are working in the South Rhone Valley, mainly. We are real specialists of South Rhone Valley, but today I will introduce generally the Rhone Valley area. So about Rhonea, we are like a cooperative, means it's a collective of 400 wine growers working together. And we make the grape together, and we work together to produce one brand and one winery. So about the history, it's around 100 years of history. It started since 1925 at Rasto. It was the starting at the Rasto cellar. And in the 1930s, Baume de Venise and Vaqueras started too. And on the last 5 years, all these co-ops work together. It's like a union of cooperative. So we want our wine to be like the personality of the area, like a kind of picture of the vineyard. So now we'll talk more about the Rhone Valley area. I'm sure many of you know the map of France, generally, the map of the wine culture. So I will not talk every area. I will focus on the Rhone Valley. The purple one is Bordeaux on the left side, and on the right side, you see this area from Lyon to Marseille is all along the Rhone Valley, coming to the Mediterranean Sea. So Rhone Valley is the second biggest area for wine in France. It's equivalent, to give you an idea, of 9,000 soccer fields. So it's very big. It's also very diversified. From the north to the south, you will feel different personality in the wine. And about the terroir, the 2 very important aspects is that this part is very hot. It's a Mediterranean climate, so it's very, very hot. In the summer, it's around 40 degrees. And the second very important side is the wind, because it's very windy. We call it the Mistral. So these two aspects give the Rhone Valley wines the personality, because the wine in the hot area will be very easy to get disease, to get humidity, for example. But because of this Mistral, it makes the vineyard dry, make it pure and clean. So it helps us to make very good wines, of course, and very healthy wine. That's why in Rhone Valley we can produce some organic or biodynamic wines, because the terroir is very adapted to. That's all about the area from Lyon to Marseille. Then I will explain about the classification. To the downside of the pyramid, you have the IGP. So it's the entry level. The entry level in the area is IGP, the equivalent of Vin de Pays. The two big regional appellations here are Côte du Rhône and Ventoux. Côte du Rhône is the biggest one. It's a little bit north, and Ventoux is the name of the hill. It's very famous hill in Provence. We call it the Giant of Provence. And all around this Ventoux mountain or hill, you have the vineyards. This place is also interesting because there is a microclimate and a very big difference of temperature. And you know the grape like that, so it's very hot on the daytime and very cool in the nighttime. So it's very important to produce the good wines. And these two appellations represent something like 50–60% is a very big part of the Rhone Valley production. Then we go up in the pyramid, we have Côte du Rhône village. So Côte du Rhône village is we find out some special terroir. So some village is the equivalent of town in French. This town has a special terroir, special specificities, means better quality. So we make the special wine, special appellation. So it's upper quality. For example, Visan, Séguret. The beautiful town of Séguret is one of the most beautiful towns in France. Rouex, Plan de Dieu, so a lot of Côte du Rhône village. And when we go to the top quality, we have 19 cru. So cru is the best quality in Rhone Valley. So the cru here in south is Baume de Venise, where I am now, Baume de Venise. Vaqueras, it's just nearby. Rasteau, Gigondas, Châteauneuf du Pape. This is the South Rhone Valley cru, but in north you have also Hermitage or Cornas. I'm sure you heard about this. So to get to Rhonea, we are kind of specialist for the cru and Côte du Rhône village, because 72% of the vineyard are located in these best areas, which is very important. So today we are the biggest producer of cru in Rhone Valley. Then I will explain a little bit about Northern Rhone cru. Is all around Lyon and Valence. The most famous is Hermitage, Côte-Rôtie. This is for the red. In my slide, the green side is for white wine and the blue for the red wine. So we can see Côte-Rôtie, Cornas, Hermitage, Crozes-Hermitage is for the red. Saint-Joseph too is nice. Condrieu, Saint-Pérennes, Château-Grillet. So in these areas there are smaller production. So also the price goes up, but it's very nice quality. It's mainly 100% Shiraz for the north part of the Rhone Valley. So now I'm going to show that from north to south is one area, Rhone Valley, but the character and the characteristic are totally different. It's very different. So, for example, the terroir in the northern Rhone Valley is steep slopes, terrace, a lot of terrace. The terrace in Hermitage and Côte-Rôtie are very famous, and narrow valley. and the soil is mainly granitic and clay. So granitic will make very elegant and a powerful wine. There is a cold north wind, and the average temperature is 13 degrees. So that's about the northern Rhone Valley. And so we can say the climate is continental. It's not so hot as we have here in South Rhone Valley. The grape now for the white is actually in North Rhone Valley is more simple because just few grape. It's a Viognier. For example, in Condrieu, we use a Viognier, and the Viognier is a very aromatic grape variety. The color is like a golden light, and we have some flower aroma, very floral wine. It gives some floral wines. It's rich and good acidity for the Viognier, generally speaking. And Marsanne Roussanne is also powerful grape variety, very elegant. Marsanne Roussanne are more famous in Saint-Joseph, Hermitage, Saint-Péret also. Saint-Péret makes a beautiful white wine, and that's for the white. So it's very just few grape in the north part of the Rhone Valley. For the red is very easy, Shiraz, 100% Shiraz for most of the wines. So the Shiraz will give a very powerful wine, a dark color, and a very fine wine, very elegant, and it will give some spices aroma to the wine. Then we can compare to the south. In south, we have more cru. We have Vin Sobre, Rasteau, Gigondas, Kéranne. Here at Rhonea, we are specialized in Baume de Venise, which makes red and a sweet natural wine. I think the sweet natural wine is very famous here, and the Vaqueras. And the most famous worldwide and expensive is Châteauneuf du Pape, which has a long history. I will come back to this later. And we have Lirac also. And all these wines are around the places of Orange and Avignon, so South Rhone Valley. The terroir is different because it's more flat. It's not so high as the hill in North Rhone Valley. And the soil is also diversified with calcareous, clay, and stone, like in Vaqueras or Châteauneuf du Pape. What I want to explain in the Rhone Valley is the terroir is very rich and very diversified. The wind is a Mistral. It's very famous in France. In France, the Mistral is very strong wind. I explained a moment ago about that, about the importance of the wind here. The average temperature is 14 degrees, so it's 1 degree up, 1 degree more than the North Rhone Valley. So actually, it's quite a big difference because we are very near in distance, but we changed to a continental climate to a Mediterranean climate. So it gives all the difference to the wines and to the terroir. About the soil, as I say, is quite diversified. We have some siliceous, which is a sandy area like in a Baume de Venise. So this will we can see the poor soil, and it will some light wines, very aromatic, but in terms of body, it will be light for the wines. And by comparison, clay or stone will give some more powerful wine. So all this diversification of soil is a strength for the Rhone Valley wines. The clay wines, here we have a Terre du Trias. Trias is a very, very old soil around the Montel de Montmirail. And this clay terroir will give a very colorful wines and very powerful. And we have the calcaire. And on this slide, we miss granitic soil. Granitic soil is on the north part of the Rhone Valley, like in Hermitage. It's very granitic soil. So you can see it's very, very rich soil. because of the old what can I say? The soil, the long history of the. I forgot how to say in English. Sorry for that. The red grape variety now in the south, in north is mini Shiraz, but in south is all about blending. It can be blended with a Shiraz. We say Syrah in France. Syrah, Cinsault, Grenache, and Mourvèdre. Mainly Syrah and Grenache are the most important grape. And they make a very good harmony together because the Grenache brings kind of sweetness to the wine, very red, ruby color, and the Shiraz will give some powerful aroma, spices. So the combination of these two grapes is a very good mariage, a very good harmony of these two grapes. And actually, Cinsault and Mourvèdre are the minority in the wine, just a little bit. About the grape variety in the south, it's also about blending. It can be a blend for Claret. Claret is a very traditional and typical grape in south. It's a very fruity and aromatic grape variety. It's a high alcohol, but a little bit bitter at the end, as a final. And we use a Bourboulenc and Grenache white. Grenache white is often used in Châteauneuf du Pape white, for example. Also flower aroma. So it gives a very rich choice of wines in Rhone Valley and aroma. Now I would like to make a focus on Châteauneuf du Pape because that's the most famous one. So the vineyard here is more about red wine. 93% is red and only 7% is white. Which is interesting in Châteauneuf du Pape is also we can use, actually that's the first AOC in France. It was the first place to establish very strict rules to protect the quality. And in this expectation of quality, you can use 13 grape variety, a combination. Actually, it's very rare to find someone who uses this 13 grape, but by law, you can use this 13 grape. That's the only place in France or you can, where you can use so many grapes. The average yield is 30 hectoliters by hectares, which is quite low. And the low yield gives much concentration to the wine. And the production area is 3,200 in Châteauneuf du Pape, just nearby Avignon. The total production yearly is 95,000 hectoliters. Châteauneuf du Pape is also famous for the history because you probably know about that, but Châteauneuf du Pape means Castle of the Pope because the vineyard started when the Pope, in the 13th century, the King of France moved the Pope from Italy to the city of Avignon. So nowadays we still have the Pope Castle in the city of Avignon. And this, in the Christian culture, the wine is very important. So the Pope and his colleagues started, and they find out this place was very adapted to the wine culture. So they started to plant the grape all around this area. So the name comes from that very long history and interesting history. Something else about the history is that the Rhone Valley vineyards is also one of the oldest vineyards in France. It started with the Roman Empire. 2,000 years ago, the Roman people, when they came to France, they love wine in their culture. So they found this area, South Rhone Valley, just along the river, Rhone Valley, was very adapted, or just along the Rhone, Rhone River, was very adapted to the culture of the wine. So this vineyard here are very, very, very old, 2,000 years of history. More information about Châteauneuf du Pape. So the wine trees, the vineyards the average is quite old, is more than 60 years old. So you will find this very is a low wine trees, but very big trees. And this means when if you have chance to visit, it means the trees is wine trees is the vineyard is very old, more than 60 years old. For the vinification, we age the wine in oak tank. It depends on the producer, of course, but for us it's 12 to 18 months, which is something special because usually most of the people in Rhone Valley, most of the producer, and at Rhonea is the same, we use a stainless steel vat most of the time, or sometimes concrete tank, because we want to keep actually the wine is already very powerful, and we want to keep this fruity aroma. We want the freshness from the grape and the fruity aroma. So the stainless steel vat is adapted to carry this character to the wine. But it's not everybody and every wine. Sometimes we use the oak tank. And we use a very big one because we don't want too much contact between the oak and the wine. Less contact, less influence of the oak. For the grape, for us, we use as we say, the GSM, Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvèdre in our Châteauneuf du Pape. Then it will bring some strong, powerful wines, but with some sweetness, so we can feel some caramel and coffee aroma. Is very smooth and elegant because of the Grenache. In this terroirs, the Grenache brings some natural sweetness in this wine. So our Châteauneuf du Pape is named Rhone Colombe. You can see this bottle on the right side. And one more thing is about the terroir. Is also very special, that you can feel all the area is full of pebbles like that, pebbles and stones. And the pebbles is very important too because this place is very hot, as I said, and it will keep the heat in the daytime to reflect to the vineyard in the nighttime. So it's kind of controlling the temperature, natural control. And also it's good for the circulation and the irrigation in the vineyard. So the pebbles has a good effect in the vineyard. Okay, this one is to summarize about the Rhone Valley area from north to the side, north to the south. As I say, the most important point is the grape, Shiraz in north, Grenache, Syrah, Mourvèdre in south. I think now it's time to talk more about Rhonea. So our winery was founded in 1925 with the first seller was Rasto, and then the other follow, Baume de Venise, Vaqueras. And 5 years ago, we make the union between Vaqueras and Baume de Venise, and to give the name Rhonea to the union, to the group. And last year, we made a union again with Rasto, Visan, and Sablé. So it makes now Rhonea one of the biggest winery in Rhone Valley. Totally, every year we produce 12 million of bottles. And which is interesting with the cooperative is that is a group of many wine growers, many families. We have totally 388 families who join together to make this winery. So totally, they own 2,900 hectares of vineyard. And most of the vineyard are in the cru area, 2,100. I will explain a little bit about our values. The first, most important, is that we are family owners and know-how. Means these people are working in the vineyard for generations, so they are very real experts of their land. The second is a unique terroir of cru, located around the Dentelle de Montmirail. The third is ethic and fair wines. and it makes us a new generation cooperative. So as I said, the first is the wine growers. So there are around 400 families who own the vineyard. So they are a real expert of their land, of their vineyard, because they work in this vineyard for generations and generations. So they pass the savoir-faire, the know-how, from one generation to another one. So it's a family business. Then in South Rhone Valley, the word, English word I was looking for is the geology. The geology is very rich in Rhone Valley. In North part, I know a lot about, for example, Hermitage or Saint-Joseph. The geology is a very long history and very rich. In South, we have also Dentelle de Montmirail. Dentelle de Montmirail is nice and is a very old phenomenon. It started 60 million years ago. There was a cold volcano who came up, and by the eruption of the volcano, bring the very deep and old soil to the surface. So it makes this hill, Dentelle de Montmirail. And it's not only beautiful, but there is also a very good effect on the vineyard, because it gives the vineyard all around the land is very rich in terms of terroir, in terms of soil. So this place is very adapted. And now with the video, we can see the Dentelle de Montmirail. You can see the vineyard are very high, is like 300 altitude, so it's very high near the mountain, and is also very diversified. It's like the biodiversify is good, which is also good because the soil lacks to have diversification. Like trees, we have some olive tree, we have some culture, vegetables, fruit, grape, and the land lacks this diversification. You see, it looks a little bit like a Toscan in Italy. So the terroir was my second point, because the terroir is a key important point for the production of the wine. Then it's about our values. We believe that we need to protect the environment, but also protect the wine lovers like you and me. So we want to have very healthy wine. So we produce some organic wine, biodynamic wine also. We have two families here who produce biodynamic wine. And we are also member of the association Vigneron Engagé. Vigneron Engagé means sustainable development. So there is a few producers in France like us, and we work not only in the vineyard, but generally at the company. All the departments in the company are involved in this sustainable development. For example, we produce some special packaging. We use some smart green cork, which is recyclable. The label also, we produce some label which are recyclable. And the ink is natural ink. So we want to recycle as much as possible of the material, the bottle, and also of course in the vineyard. So it makes Rhonea a new cooperative new generation. We want to be usually in the history, the cooperative was like a old-fashioned style of producing. Now we want to work just like one big winery. So we are very quality driven, and we produce just like, for example, we distribute the wine with one team, we vinify the wine with one team. We have a lot of family working in the vineyard, but at the end, we all work together to have one strategy. Another example is that we invest in some tools to manage the vineyard. So there is some weather station in the vineyard. So it helps our families to manage the vineyard well. It helps them to forecast the weather, which day to cut the wine tree, which day to make some, you know, everything is managed, is a kind of help by technology tools. This one also, it's a satellite picture which help to forecast the harvest. So we can see which place, which vineyard is mature, which place is not ready yet. So it helps our winemaker to prepare his wine and the harvest. Now about the recognition, on the last years we got a lot of awards from the wine magazine specialist, wine magazine, wine advocate, Parker, or the French Béthane and de Sauve. So every year we get 150 rewards and rating. So it goes better and better every year. So now we have, for example, on the vintage 2018, we get 60% of the rating above 90, which is a quite good performance. We are happy with that. So it rewards a good strategy in the winery. Few examples: wine enthusiast, wine advocate, Châteauneuf. Okay, so we are also very active. We have a marketing team. We are very active on the social network. So I invite you to follow our. I don't know if you are more Instagram or more Facebook, but you can subscribe. And my team here, François, will be very happy to see we have some followers in Indonesia. Mm-hmm. Then we can talk about the wine.
Yes.
How is it about the time?
Good, still good. Still okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have a few ranges, but I want to focus on the ranges which will be available in Indonesia, I hope soon, after the embargo is over. So the first range is Café Terrace. So Café Terrace is IGP is more Mediterranean, and is all about the concept about if some of you have been to France, maybe you know the terrace and café is a strong part of the culture, because the French people like to sit in the café and look at the ladies and talking with friends and enjoying life. So it brings the concept and the idea of the French way of art de vivre, the French art de vivre, the way of living, way of yeah, Café Terrace. So you have the Eiffel Tower on the back, and this one I'm going to try now is the Café Terrace Red. Actually, we have the three colors: red, rosé, and white. The red is a blend with the Caladoc, Grenache, and Syrah. And we do is very adapted, like for example, the wine bar or bistro within France, a small restaurant, because it's easy to drink. I would say it's screw cap, easy to open. It's an invitation to share the wine culture. Sorry, I'm drinking alone today. Next time I come to drink with you. So that's all about the concept of the Café Terrace and the wine culture in France. So the Caladoc is not so famous. It's a special grape from the south of France, and it's quite a powerful aromatic grape. So for this one, we use a stainless steel vat, as I said, because we want the wine to be very easy to drink and fresh and fruity. We can feel the spices on the Shiraz. It is very typical wine from the Mediterranean coast. Yeah, it's a French art de vivre. As I said, the packaging is very adapted to the wine bistro or the wine bar. So I hope we can share it very soon. I feel a little bit like impolite to drink alone in front of you. Okay, so I will go to the next one then.
Okay.
Oh, and this one has a medal. Last year we got a silver medal for the red at the Paris wine competition. So it rewards the good work of our team. Okay. The second one is the Côte du Rhône. So the Côte du Rhône Valley is the most popular and most typical appellation in Rhone Valley. It's the biggest one. And I'm sure it's the most distributed Rhone Valley appellation in Indonesia. So this one also we do the three color, the three style, rosé, white, and red. Today I bring the red. Legend des Tocs, you know legend. Huh? Legend is we have the English name for legend. And a toc, actually I don't know how to say in English, but is the chef, the cooker, the chef. That's the toc. Is a hat, traditional. How do you say in English?
Executive chef, the head of the chef. You mean?
Hat. You know the
head,
very high. Yes.
The hood, what you call?
The white one.
Chef hat. Yeah, the chef hat.
Okay,
Yeah.
chef hat. So in French we say toc. So, and it's a legend des tocs, means it's a little bit like a legendary chef, something like that.
Ah, okay.
And why this name is because this Rhonea range is is produced for the restaurant and hotels. And for this one, we use we have some chef who come to the winery and give their recommendation for the blending and for the production. So this one is made in collaboration with some chef. So that's why we call it Legend de Toc. I'm sorry. So in Côte du Rhône is mainly Grenache Syrah for this blend. But in this wine, we use also Carignan, a little bit, and Cinsault, and Mourvèdre. So it's, as I say, the Rhone Valley appellation is more about blending this typical grape variety. The Grenache brings a very fruity aroma, and in the mouth, it brings a very smooth tannin. It's like a velvet tannin. It's very easy to drink. It's very adapted to the restaurant because you don't need to decant it or to open it like 1 hour.
What is the vintage? Michael, what is the vintage?
In 2009. 2009.
Oh.
So it's the last one. So it's adapted for gathering together with friends because, as I say, you open it, drink it, and it's fresh, but also at the same time good, powerful. Good and powerful. So for this one also we got some medals. We got the gold medal in Macron and the silver medal in Paris. So 2 medals for this Rhonea Legend des Tocs. About the production, we use a short time the cold fermentation, very pre-fermentation, cold fermentation. So it gives we can extract the tannin, more tannin and more color, more aromatic. And then we use a stainless steel vat, as I said, because it's a more natural way to produce. We don't affect the taste. We don't affect with any oak, or we keep the very fruity aroma and freshness. If you have any question.
I think are you finished the presentation?
We have time, 5 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Continue, yeah.
The third one, I didn't bring the bottle now, but with this one is made also from the Muscat Petit Grain. And we call this wine Big Cock. So it's also a funny concept. Many meanings to these wines. So it's as his slide say, is a wine to be enjoyed among friends, is for fun, to enjoy time. And the Muscat Petit Grain is a sweet wine. We do it white, but the Muscat Tendre means tender Muscat will be available in Indonesia soon, and this one is a sweet wine.
So it's a late harvest, or?
It's not late harvest, but for the Muscat here, we stop the fermentation. Oh. Yeah, actually, I'm going to explain on the next one. I would like to explain on the traditional Muscat. This is traditional Muscat, which will be available in Indonesia too. Is a AOP Muscat de Venise. So it's not late harvest, but this one is a mutage. Mutage. Mutage means we stop the fermentation. We add some alcohol, pure alcohol. So we stop the fermentation. So the wine keeps the natural sugar in the wine. So it's a very aromatic, exotic and floral aroma. And this one is also very famous because it has a long history too. It started with the Pope also. The Pope was the first one to enjoy it as an aperitif in France. So now in France, it's very famous. It's very typical to drink this Muscat as an aperitif. Aperitif is a starter. And it's a natural sweet wine, very typical. As I say, it's a mutage, so you have this natural sweetness from the grape. So we don't add sugar. Sometimes people would think we add sugar, but no, it's a natural sweetness in the wine.
What is the alcohol content on that?
It's a 50.
Okay.
Because this mutage process, the alcohol rate is a little bit higher, so it's 15 degrees. And the sugar is like 110 grams per liter. So it's quite high, but when you drink it, it's also very fine. It's not so obvious. And these days now, recently, we use it, of course, as a typical traditional wine, but also now we use it as a cocktail. So we can do some cocktail based on the Muscat because of the rich aromatic structure. This Muscat is very adapted. So now the bars here in France use more and more the Muscat as in the recipe of the cocktail.
Yeah.
For example, Muscat tonic, you can see here.
Yeah.
Do you have Muscat, Baume de Venise in Indonesia? Can you find?
At this moment, no.
Oh, also it will be interesting.
Sure.
It's a very interesting product. I think that's the most famous of the natural sweet wine.
So this one is VDN, yeah, Vin Natural.
VDN, yes,
Yeah.
Vin Naturel. So if you did maybe the WSET or some training like that, I think they talk about Muscat de Venise as a traditional VDN. So that's it.
All
That's
right.
the end of my introduction.
Okay. So if you can stop share, unless you still want. By the way, before I jump to the question from the audience, you are showing us the presentation while you see from the what you call. You can see you're using the technology, and then basically you can see from the satellite which vineyard is almost harvest, which one is not, and in all different color, right? I'm just by the curiosity. Red meaning is ready to harvest, or the green because you have green, yellow, red. What is that color meaning?
So is studies vigorous.
Okay.
Is studies vigorous of the leaf of the leaf
Okay. All
of
right.
the vineyard. So it helps to see the maturity also, and the state, which status. It helps to see which status is now the vineyard. So it helps to prepare. Our team use it to see, okay, this parcel, this vineyard, we will maybe harvest it first, or you can manage the calendar, the planning, and also it helps our team to say, okay, this parcel, we use it in that wine, or maybe on that one. We can make the alchemy and the management of the quality. It's a new technology.
All right. As you say that in Rhonea, you have like a lot of like more than 400 growers working together with you, right? If I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
the number. And what about the winery? You have only single winery. Maybe I missed that on the presentation. And how actually, like, you must be very busy to coordinate between these 400 growers to on the making process on during the harvest. How you manage that part?
Yeah, that's true. So each family, they manage their vineyard by themselves. Actually, we help them. We have a team, a few people in the team, Rhonea team, who help them to manage the vineyard. Our team is very high qualified. They have studied the vineyard, and they help the family, for example, to be more organic, or to be more biodynamic. They can help the people to follow the strategy of the company, to follow the way we want the wine. So these people are in charge of actually, to reply, the family are in charge of the vineyard, and then we are in charge of the vinification. So they bring the grape to Rhonea, and then our team will manage the vinification. But they also talk together, communicate together. And some of the wine growers, because they have a very special terroir or something different, we produce some small cuvée in the name of the domain, small domain.
All right. Okay.
So I don't know if it's a reply to your question. But,
yes. Okay. So there's another question. This one is from Nathaniel Han. There's a few kind of soil, looking at your presentation. He was asking that which kind is best and suitable for red and white, and does it affect the taste of the wine depending to the soil? Maybe
it's hard to reply because every soil has a different character, and each soil brings something different. For example, the granitic in the north will bring the structure in the wine, intense colors, and fine, elegant wines, just like Hermitage or Cornas. And in the south, for example, the sand wine, sand terroir, is a very adapted, is a perfect to produce the Muscat Baume de Venise. So the challenge is to produce, not only in Rhône, but for everybody in the producing wine. The challenge is to produce a good wine adapted to the good terroir and good soil. So every soil has different interest and different characteristics.
I think that's also the terroir is very important to make a very distinct characteristic of each winery and later on the wine. So that's why soil is very, very important, right?
Yes,
another question from Togu. How many crews that Rhonea has? How many crews under Rhonea?
I think, let me think.
We have the CDP.
We are actually, as a seller, we manage we are the seller of Rasteau, Vaqueras, Baume de Venise, but we also do Gigondas, for example. So it's like 4 or 5 crus that we can do.
Okay, so that's answer your question, Togu. Do you produce wine from Côte de Rhone Valley AOC single vineyard?
Sorry?
Do you produce wine from the Côte de Rhone Valley AOC single vineyard?
We do have, yes, we have single vineyard. Because here in Baume de Venise, we have a very rich geology soil. For example, Baume de Venise, we have these 3 very distinguished and 3 strong terroirs, which is Terre du Trias, which is a very old soil, 300 million old soil, and we have the Pharisien, and we have this very specific soil. So we find out this soil are adapted to produce single vineyard. So we produce it now. Okay. But actually it's a new cuvée, so it's not available yet. I think next year should be the first vintage on the single vineyard.
You said about the Rhonea is on the sustainable principle, but are you
yes.
also using the organic, natural, biodynamic style as the one itself, or only the sustainable, or you put the organic on some of the product of Rhonea?
Yes, we do. So we do organic. We have organic range, and in some of we do organic wines. And actually, in all the vineyards in Rhonea, we use less sulfite, soufre, less sulfite than organic expectation. So we are very, we have a strong commitment in the organic culture. Sometimes the wine can carry this organic logo certification. Sometimes they cannot, but we are always in the direction of the organic way to produce. And also we have a few biodynamic.
Okay.
We have 2 producers here who are working in biodynamic.
There's another question. It will say that, so if we're talking about Rhonea, you said the Rhonea as a company or as a winery? How you explain that?
It's a winery.
It's a winery. So winery who work together with the corporation of the growers, something like that.
Actually, it's a union of winery. It's a union of 5 wineries together. Okay. So it's a
All right. Any more question? Togu sudah jelas ya. So it's a winery. It's a collaboration of the 5 winery in the Rhonea company itself, gitu ya. Okay. More question, guys. If there's a Chandra asking you a question. If I would like to have a full body red wine, which one you recommend and why?
For us, I would say Gigondas, because in Gigondas, I didn't really explain all the cru, but in Gigondas, we have the oldest vineyards here, and the vineyards are very old, and it's in altitude, and it gives some very strong and full body wines. So I would say Gigondas the most. But actually, Rhone Valley wines typically are already quite strong and full for the cru. So
Okay.
a larger choice.
Sure. Interesting for me to talk about the muscat, the muscat. So it's basically, like you said, is in the making for process in the vinification. You have the wine is during the fermentation. Before the fermentation is finished, so basically you are putting the spirit, the natural spirit. What natural spirit that you are using? You're using brandy or something else?
It's from the grape. It's from the grape spirit.
Okay.
That is very pure, like 94% more alcohol. Is as pure as possible. So is almost no aroma in this spirit. Very pure.
Because you want to emphasize the aroma of the wine itself, right?
Yes, actually the grape, the Muscat, Petit Grain is already very aromatic. So we don't want to affect the taste.
Okay. So
Michael,
yes.
Can you explain to us how many facility to process your wine, and can you explain also separation for which function? For example, for sweet wine or for red or for white. Can you explain, please?
Yes, of course. Yes, sure. So each cooperative originally have their facilities. So we keep it. So here in Baume de Venise, is the biggest one. We produce red wines and of course the natural sweet wine. Most of the wine, I would say, vinify here. And in Vaqueras, we have a very nice and special vinification place. So there the vats are suspended vats. So we use a gravity, and it's very unique. I think there is 2 or 3 places like that in France. So it's a very technological process. So we use this one to produce our domaine et chateau. So as I say, there is few wine growers which are very special terroir, something different. So this small cuvée, we produce it in this Vaqueras facility. We also have Rasto. Rasto, there we produce mainly this Côte du Rhône, because Côte du Rhône is big production now. The wine we try, Légende des Tocs. So the Légende des Tocs Côte du Rhône is produced in the Rasto facility. And there is also Visan and Sablé. So it's all about the organization. We produce some AOC in some facility, Baume or Visan, it depends. It's a big organization to manage that. But the good thing is that actually, different name, different place, but we are all very close.
Yeah.
You know, it's a small town in France. It's a small territory.
It's not as big as we are expected when we are looking at so many detail of the winery, yes, or the region, right? When we are study wine through the map and the book, right? It's not that huge as we are expecting. But
exactly. But you know, France is small, so.
But the most interesting part is just the way, like you're explaining between the north and the south part, is actually how, even though the distance is that far, but the variance of the soil and the difference of the temperature, the wind, and everything is totally different in a way, yes, that creating a specific wine from each section. That's right?
Yes. Personally, that's what I think very interesting in Rhone Valley is very diversified. In one place, Rhone Valley, you can have so many styles, so many characteristics in the wine, from a sweet wine to a strong red wine. We have also some sparkling. We produce one here from Muscat, but you have some sparkling also in, for example, Clairette de Die, in other places in Rhône, Saint-Péret. So many choices in one place. I think that's the real richness of the Rhone Valley.
Okay, I think we missed one question from Susie. He was saying that what is the biodynamic wine? Maybe you can elaborate on that.
Actually, we have a domain which is named Domaine de la Persiane. It's a family which is very involved in the organic and biodynamic. So this wine is named Château de la Persiane, but it's a small production. It's not available in Asia, not yet. But this family is working on the biodynamic principles. And now on that vintage this year, we use a part of the production from that domain to produce, we call it no terroir bio, means our organic terroir. And we produce a special organic range. And inside that range, the IGP is also biodynamic. So we do have the biodynamic production, and then we produce wines according to that production.
So Michael, in terms of the legal point of view, if it is organic, you have to have the certified organic to put the label, to put the organic information in the label. What about biodynamic? You have also the institution to have that legality on the biodynamic, or is only by principle?
We have to. There is an audit. Actually, it's funny we talk about that because I'm the office now, and just near today we have the audit. Just on the next office, we have an audit from the bio organic. We are audited, so the inspector, they come to check the process, how we do, and then they allow us to use this certification, organic.
Okay.
And for biodynamic, it's the same. You have the Demeter certification. You can find it on the on the back label. Actually, maybe I can show you. You want I can on the screen? Should I
Yeah.
share again?
Yeah.
Okay, I try. Because on one side, can you see my? No.
Not yet. You're not yet presented.
Okay. I try again. Tac. Share screen.
Because like we can see a lot of organic, but it's not many the biodynamic. There's a lot of wineries start to call themselves biodynamic, but not really see the level of the biodynamic.
Yeah, we have actually to be very official biodynamic. Can you see my PPT now?
Yes, I can. We can.
Okay, so there is a slide. This one, you see the Demeter, the orange one is for biodynamic.
Okay.
And the grade one, AB, is the audit we are right now, is organic. And I didn't explain that one, but on the right is a haute valeur environnementale, is HVE. It's kind of similar to the organic. And for being get certification, they will check if we are doing clean wines and if clean, you know, like organic, and the biodiversity in the vineyard. So here we are quite good on that because we have a lot of culture, like oil, tree, many things, and that's important.
So
but it's a new one, haute valeur environnementale.
So after the audit, they give you a stamp to use it. How many times that you have to redo that audit process? Every years? I don't know.
I think they come every year. But I'm not specialized on that. My colleague is we have a team to get. They're working on getting certification.
Okay.
I think they come every year for organic.
All right. Interesting. All right. Thank you so much. Any more questions, guys? You can stop share now. Or thank you so much. Any other question? I think I cover all, ya, Budi. Yeah? I'm not miss any question. All right. If there's no more question, we need to close the session. Michael, any last words from your side?
I will share our Instagram link, if you don't mind.
I follow already.
Oh, that's great. I will. I just see there is a exchange. Okay, that's good. Oh, I see the question now. Okay. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining. And thank you, Widya, for the invitation again. It's a pleasure to share our Rhone Valley culture.
All right. So thank you so much, Michael. It was being an honor for us to have all the explanation from your side. I believe I can share also the presentation to everybody, right? Michael?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
You're welcome.
So thank you so much once again to Michael and also to Budi who helping us to arrange this session. Like I said that after this session, I will send you the recording link that I will upload in YouTube, so you can just click that to go back to the file. I'm also put the audio on the Spotify for those who want to easy listening during your studying while you are reading the presentation that I will send later on. So thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Just to remind you, everybody, next week it will be something very interesting. Something that we usually not seeing in many books of the wine book, because we are going to Lebanon. I know that a sad story happening, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. I think yesterday, right? About the big explosion in Beirut, in Lebanon area. By coincidence, next week on Thursday, we will have our Lebanon wine region. We are talking about the challenge and also the opportunity of the wine region in Lebanon. It was very interesting that it's not really talk about, but it's actually they have a long history about wine, and that's something that interesting also for us to listen. I have a diploma, WSET diploma, who actually live in Switzerland, but already living quite a long time in Lebanon and specified herself in the Lebanon area, including writing on the Lebanon and promoting Lebanon wine. So it will be an interesting session. It will be next week on the 13th of August. We will start at 4 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock. I will send you the invitation and also the link for registration like usual for you guys for joining the next week session, which will be very interesting. All right. So now by the end of the session, like always, I would like to ask everybody to put the video on so we can have the photo session. This is like the other photo ritual, the photo session, Michael, that we are doing on the online. Togu, you're very handsome. Look at you. You must be working. Karena dari kemarin dia nggak kerja. Before, Togu is always like at the home feeling look like. Okay, you.
Monsieur Michael, say hello to Pak Billy ya, Billy Budiman.
Pak Billy.
Still remember? You can see his face. Hello Pak Billy.
Hey Michael, how are you?
I don't see it.
Ça va, Michael?
Ça va, Billy? How are you?
How are you? Good, good.
Okay.
Cheers, cheers.
Cheers to everybody.
I only got water. I only got water.
Water's good enough so far. Oke, videonya teman-teman tolong dinyalain biar kita bisa foto bersama ya. Terus kita foto bersama untuk session ini. Pak Jendra senyumnya kurang cetar.
Driver ya? Oh, gitu deh.
Oke.
Oh,
Yuk,
nggak di belakang.
apa lagi nih yang belum nih? Oke. Cheers, Septi. 1, 2, 3. Alright. Septi di kantor di ini ya. Oke, one more time. 1, 2, 3, go. Henry, hi. Alright. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you in next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See you next
soon in
session.
Bali.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. Bye
Merci
all.
beaucoup.
Bye.
Michelle.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
Tugu.